Hello and welcome back to the True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Michael.
All right, I'm excited for the first time on the True Crime Guys podcast. We are going to Japan.
What has taken us so long?
I don't know.
You know?
Because Japan is fascinating. I love their culture.
It is fascinating.
So cool.
It is fascinating. What's some of the social norms you've been looking up? I know you told me you looked up some for the show.
Well, it's commonplace to apologize for insulting someone. Like multiple times a day, they apologize for insulting someone, even though they didn't necessarily insult them.
Oh,
it's just so custom to be overly polite,
right?
And
just
cautious
in case
about insulting people.
Just in case something you said may have come off.
So I'm just going to say I'm sorry right now, Michael. At some point, I'll probably say something insulting to you. So I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry for getting insulted. So,
where does that leave us?
I don't know. We're both just sorry people, bro.
I was telling Michael before the show, I'm like, man, if I went to Japan, I guess now knowing after like researching and looking into their culture and stuff that I would be more careful. But just being me, if I didn't know, if I was just American Lauren going over there, I'd just be insulting everybody.
Oh
and
yeah,
not even
dude.
realizing it, not trying to, you know.
You'd be offending the shit out of people just walking by them without even a greeting. Yeah. Oh man, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, but there's so many things that are fascinating about Japanese culture, man. Those island cultures, man, they're amazing.
They are. And
something about being cut off from the rest of the world, you know, it's just they create their own thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it forces creativity and forward progress, doesn't it? Yeah. Because it's like, well, we can't rely. Like, what if something happens to the ships, right? We got to do our own stuff out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're an amazing culture, man. They're ahead in technology a lot. Their vehicles.
Video gaming, a lot of the video gaming, stuff like Nintendo and all that came from Japan.
Yeah, of course. And Nintendo does their own thing, man. They don't give a fuck what the other companies are doing. They're like, yeah, you guys release your consoles whenever. We're going to release ours when it's done and amazing. And it's going to be super successful like the console before it.
The Switch, everybody thought Nintendo was dead, you know, like we've all moved on. And then they come out with the Switch and kind of everybody loves it.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Now your child can just
when the Wii first came out, everybody was all about it too.
The Wii was a blast.
Yeah.
It really was. I love the Wii. Dude, I could play just that Wii Sports that came with the Wii.
It's still, every now and then, it's still fun to break it out and do some bowling.
It's a good time. Some bowling or some tennis.
Get competitive with the kids.
I like to play some tennis. You just don't be near ceiling fans or lamps. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's one of those games that you and your kids can both have a lot of fun doing.
Yes. Mario Kart on the Wii was a blast with the steering wheel. Did you have one of those steering wheels?
I used to have I never had one for Mario Kart, but I used to have steering wheels for like Gran Turismo and Forza and stuff.
Oh yeah, good stuff. I remember when like the steering wheel kit was huge. It was like a dashboard of an actual car. You know what I'm saying? Like you see them things at like Radio
I'm talking
Shack.
90s. I had one of those setups in the 90s, man.
Has the shifter on the side.
Mind blowing to us at the time. It's like I'm really driving a car, man.
Dude, I was always blown away at the ones that came with the pedal attachment. You know what I'm saying? Like the part that you could put in the floor. I never got one of those. I was never that lucky. I couldn't afford the pedal attachment as well.
Michael's too low class to have the gas pedal. He only had the steering wheel.
Yeah, I only had the steering wheel. Just the brake. Oh. No.
Mom, I can turn, but I can't go anywhere.
I can't go anywhere. One thing at a time, son. We're saving up.
You'll have a brake pedal soon, son. Ask Santa. All right. Let's get into it, man. I'm sure we'll talk more Japanese culture. I'm bowing to you right now. You can't see me, but I'm bowing.
Okay, I'm bowing lower. I'm bowing even lower. So.
Well, now you just insulted me. You need to apologize.
That's how it goes. All right.
Upstairs they heard a scream. They ran hysterically. When they opened the door, dare I say more? She was already gone. Something horribly wrong. Anger did this. His alibi is he got mad. He got mad. He got mad. He got mad. He wasn't mad at her, but he had to have her. He wasn't mad at her, but he had to have her. He wasn't mad at her, but he had to have her. He wasn't mad at her, but he had to have her now. 'cause he got mad.
Suck it up, bitch.
All right, for our case this week, as we mentioned, we're going to Japan, to a place called Hatsukaichi City in Hiroshima Prefecture in Japan. As you guys know, we're going to probably struggle with some of these Japanese names and cities, but that's par for the course. So
It is. You should know that by now.
yeah, but Hatsukaichi is a safe and prosperous area, well developed in agricultural and fisheries and tourism industries. So really safe place.
Yeah.
Not
Really
somewhere.
safe.
Yeah, if that's a,
Definitely not somewhere someone gets murdered. Oh, wait.
yeah.
Let's wait. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we're not covering this case to talk about just how wonderful a tourist city it is. There was
Right,
a
we're not trying to
horrific
get you to
crime that
move
happened
there.
here.
Right.
In 2004, a 17-year-old girl named Satomi Kitaguchi lived in a traditional Japanese house with her father, mother, grandmother, and younger sister. That's another thing I appreciate about the Japanese culture is they tend to take better care of their parents as they get older. They move them in. They become a big part of their children's lives. Their parents, the kids' grandparents are always around, right there, basically on the same property.
Right. I mean, because they do that on purpose. They want these multi generational homes.
Yeah.
Right. So like grandma has her wing. We have our wing here. The bedrooms are up here. And such. And
That's
such.
exactly
And
how
I
it
think
was.
It's a great idea.
Their property
Yeah.
was there was essentially 3 homes on it. 2 of them were connected, like the family wing, and then the main family's home, and then there was the grandmother's home, which was next to them but separated. So it was like 3
Right.
houses on one property, and yeah, that was. I'm sure it's great for the kids. I have sort of a similar thing going on. My parents live right down the street. Like I could almost throw a rock and hit
Yes.
their house, and they're heavily in my kids' lives. We just can call them on a whim, and can we come over? They come over for breakfast all the time, things like that. So
Right. It is nice. It is nice. It is a benefit. I live in a similar fashion. I don't want to live in the same house as my parents,
Yeah.
but it is nice to live near them. You know what I'm saying? Somebody on your side, somebody that's on your team all the time. And it's also, you have those older generations to learn from and gain their wisdom and experiences from.
there's
And
times
it's-
where
that
it's
they have to be around.
There's times where it's tough because their style they want to kind of push their style of parenting
Yes.
on you a little bit. Like
Of
everything
course.
worked out with you. That's the way we did it in the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, well, we've got more knowledge now. Things are a little different. We want to try things a little
This would-
differently.
In the 80s and 90s, you weren't doing things like the 50s and 60s. Now, were you?
Exactly.
Why? Because you had more knowledge. Yeah. So
But
there you go.
in 2004, Satomi, like as we mentioned, lived in a traditional home with her parents and her grandparents. And she was a junior in high school, of which she traveled to and fro by bicycle. So she would take her bike every day to school.
Right.
And on October 5th, 2004, it was an exam day. On exam day, she would get off at noon. So it was like a half day. I remember those half days in school. Those were the best.
Oh, I love those half days,
Those were the
man.
best.
Feel like a jailbreak.
Right? You get out and it's like so bright out. It's like the day is still young. It's like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I'm going to get lunch.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go home. Then I'm going to just wear like shorts and just like play fucking video games.
Right.
Swim and shit.
Got so many hours of Fortnite ahead of me.
Right. Yeah, right. Fortnite wasn't even thought
I
of.
know. I'm trying to get into the mind of kids now,
Oh, yeah, that's true. So many
Back then it
hours
was
of
like,
Fortnite
man,
for sure.
Madden 2004, I'm going to go home and play. It's going to be great.
Can't wait to see the new rosters.
Yeah. They just upgraded Donovan McNabb. It's great.
Oh, I'm going to be Mike Vick.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that was the guy to be in Madden.
Hell yeah.
You-
That's all I did was
a
scramble,
cheat
bro.
code.
And he could, I know, he was a cheat code in himself.
Yeah. So yeah, she had a half
back on
day
topic.
on October 5th, 2004. And so she rode her bike home and got home several hours before she would normally get home. She arrived home at 1 p.m. And both of her parents were still at work. Her grandmother, however, was home with her younger sister. They were watching television in the main room. And so she gets home, she goes and she eats some lunch in the family room next to the, where her grandmother and sister are watching TV. She has some lunch. And then she goes to the middle wing. So the houses we mentioned, there was 3 of them. On the left, if you're looking at it from the street, you had like the family wing where she was eating lunch and her grandmother and her younger sister were hanging out watching TV. And in the middle was like the family bedrooms and all that. And so after lunch, she retired to the 2-story middle home where the bedrooms were. She went upstairs to the bedroom to take a nap. She was going to get a nap in after a half day of school, after her, her exams. Meanwhile, her grandmother and younger sister were still watching TV in the main wing, and they were startled by hearing a scream at about 3 p.m. So she got home at 1, she had some lunch, she went back to the bedroom in the middle wing of the home, and I'm guessing around an hour and a half after that at 3 p.m., Satomi's grandmother and sister heard her hysterically screaming. So they ran to the middle home upstairs and hurried up to Satomi's bedroom. They forced the door open. The door was locked or kind of wedged closed. They forced the door open and saw a horrifying sight. They saw Satomi covered in blood and unconscious on the floor. Beside her stood a man in his 20s holding a knife. They'd never seen this man before.
Holy shit.
Not something you expect in the middle of a week on a weekday, 3 p.m., something like this going on.
Absolutely not. In a safe neighborhood, in a neighborhood where they entrusted their teenage girls to ride bikes to school every day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So this was completely out of nowhere. This intruder is broken in and stabbed young Satomi. The grandmother and sister were obviously terrified. The sister escaped and ran away out of the home to a nearby florist shop and ran in screaming, "My sister's been stabbed, my sister's been stabbed." Unfortunately, the grandmother wasn't as quick to get out. The man chased her and stabbed her 4 times in the back before fleeing the scene. Although she sustained serious injuries, the grandmother managed to crawl to the phone and call the police before passing out.
She's a beast.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Adrenaline is an amazing thing. I bet you that grandmother pushed the other girl out of the way as well.
Oh, yeah. Told her to run for her life, knowing that she was not going to be able to get away.
Right. Yes. And props to her for being able to think that quickly and that clearly to preserve another life in the instance of looking at your dead granddaughter.
And you know what? That move probably also saved her own life because the intruder would have, I'm sure, stabbed her more times if he wasn't worried about what the younger sister getting away and getting authorities notified. He would have killed all 3 of them.
If there's no flight and they just freeze, he would have killed all 3. He would have killed all 3 of them.
100%. He would have been able to take his time. Yeah. But he's now worried, okay, this young girl's ran off and she's going to basically get people to respond.
Right. I got to be out of here.
Mm-hmm. So the grandmother...
And this guy was wearing no mask, right? He wasn't wearing a mask, no disguise.
No disguise.
They got a good look at him.
We come to learn this is a spontaneous, not well thought out crime. This was a spur of the moment decision this person made and may or may not have even planned on stabbing Satomi, but we'll learn more about that. Satomi, when the police arrived, she was found collapsed either on a stair. I've heard it in multiple. I've heard 2 different scenarios here in different articles and whatnot. One says that she was found collapsed on a stairway. Others say that she was still in her bedroom where, her grandmother and younger sister found her. Mm-hmm. I'm going to lean more towards the bedroom. I think she'd been stabbed so many times in there that she never even made it out.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I think maybe they got confused. The grandmother was found on a stairway and they say Satomi. I don't know.
That would make a lot more sense because the grandmother was stabbed in the back and she would have been stabbed fleeing.
Yeah.
So
she was able to make it to a phone, but did she try to crawl back up the stairs to get to Satomi? And that's where she kind of passed out. I don't know.
That's true. They could have had a phone in the hallway. Or in a stairwell, or yes, like you said, maybe she called and then was making her way back up the stairwell, trying to get to Satomi. Yeah, and she had lost so much blood at that point. I'm sure she didn't have the strength to make it back up the stairs.
Yeah. Well, Satomi, when found by the paramedics, she was already dead. It was clear that there was no signs of life. She had been stabbed 10 times all over her body, including the chest, the back, and the neck. The fatal stab was in the chest near her heart. So there was 2 possible directions that the intruder could have taken. The police did a door-to-door investigation in the neighborhood, yet no useful information was rendered. I believe they were backed up to a river. There's kind of rivers that run through this town, and I think he could have gone out the back and fled along the river. So
I don't think this was your typical right next door to door neighborhood, like where, you know what I'm saying, where you share a space in between the house. I think these houses were a little more spread out.
Yeah, they had a big
You know what I'm
property.
saying? Right, with I'm sure they had trees and whatnot growing up around it. There were places to hide in this neighborhood.
Yeah, and also
know?
this being an afternoon week on a weekday, there was no witnesses. There wasn't many people walking around. This is an area where everybody's working during the week. So
Right.
there was just not, unfortunately, no witnesses.
Right, and you're talking 3:00, and there's not even probably any school buses running because school got out early.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This being everybody's already at home
See
from
what
their
I'm saying?
exams.
Right.
There was, of course, the grandmother and the sister who were both still alive. The grandmother did survive, and the younger sister, they'd both seen the killer face to face. So they gave a description, and they were actually able to do a forensic. An officer was able to do a facial sketch of this perpetrator. The man, as described by the grandmother and younger sister, was about 20, in his 20s, early 20s, with short hair, small eyes, and some acne scars. His build, they said, was sturdy. He was about 5'3" to 5'7", and stocky. So they made a composite sketch of the man.
Right.
And from the crime scene, they had some evidence as well, some physical evidence. There was an unidentified fingerprint, shoe prints, and they were actually able to get some DNA from Satomi's fingernails because she put up a hell of a fight and she scratched him.
You really think this? You think this guy's dead in the water here?
Right.
You
It
know?
sounds like
I feel like
doesn't it?
it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time they're gonna catch this dude.
No. Yeah. 16 years later, this case goes cold.
Spoiler.
Yeah. So with the facial sketch, the fingerprint, the shoe print, and DNA, you would think, like you said, that the police were going to be able to track this person down.
Right. Somebody had to see something.
Yeah, but when it's a completely random attack, that's the problem. It's like this person.
That's the problem.
As we know, the first thing homicide detectives do is they look close to the victim. Friends, family members,
That's
and
right.
they try to find a connection.
Yeah, stalkers, enemies.
It's those random attacks that are the hardest to solve, oftentimes.
Right.
So the facial sketch was distributed to Satomi's relatives, friends, schoolmates, and neighbors in hope that someone might recognize the man. Unfortunately, nobody had any clue who this person was. The intruder had seemingly just arrived, killed, and vanished. So this is just one of the toughest ones. This is a nightmare scenario for the detectives, for the family. They don't know where to turn. They just feel, lost. And I'm sure it's very frustrating. You want to catch this person.
Oh, absolutely. And you're like, why? At the most, it's like no closure.
And the community
Someone
has got to be also thinking, like, when is this person going to strike again if we don't catch him?
Right. Yeah, what a violation of not only their home and their privacy, but yeah, like you said, the whole community. The whole community thought they were safe.
Yep.
And this happened in broad daylight, 3 p.m. So
yeah, this person could very well be a serial killer. The way that this was done, this is Richard
No doubt.
Ramirez-esque. breaking into a home, stabbing.
Yes, no doubt at all. It also reminds me a little Golden State Killer, East Area rapist.
Oh yeah, definitely
type
Hurons.
scenario. You know what I'm saying? Because he was in those neighborhoods, those same types of neighborhoods that always deemed so safe.
Yes.
But they were partly wooded and whatnot, and he got in and out of those neighborhoods undetected over and over again.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the possibilities with genealogy. I think we're just getting started as far as catching all of these killers that were working in the 70s, 80s, 90s that left their DNA behind,
They're
not realizing what they were
bullets.
doing, and now their nephew or their niece submits their DNA to 23andMe. Next thing you know, they get caught. It's great.
Yep. They're sweating bullets, brother. Yep. And the older they get, the smaller the pool of possibilities, gets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they narrow,
so
narrow.
If
it keeps narrowing.
Exactly. So
The more people submit their DNA
years
too.
Old.
I was reluctant.
Right.
I have to say I was reluctant. Bill Burr kind of got me thinking, like, why would you submit your DNA to any company or whatever?
I know, me too.
And also I'm just not that self-absorbed where I'm like, I have to know, everything about my lineage or whatever. I'm just like, whatever, I am what I am. But I might do it just so that they have more data so they can catch more bad guys, Like it's
right.
The more
And
they
I don't
have, the
think
more
it's
ammunition they have, the more DNA that they have submitted, the more chance they have to catch people. So if I have some distant cousin who's a rapist, I want him caught.
Yeah, fuck him, right?
And I got nothing to hide. So,
But I don't think it's like a self-absorbed thing though, Lauren. If you did want to do it, like even just to find out your culture and find out where you're from and find out what you got, because even what your relatives tell you may not be what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you look at siblings, look at some siblings, how they look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I know these two brothers who were absolutely full-blooded brothers. One looked like the dad, one looked like the mom. You know what I'm saying? And they look completely different.
Yeah.
One was like darker complexion, dark hair.
Yeah, that's
the other
crazy
one was
when that
like
happens, right?
pale, blonde hair, crystal blue eyes. And they were, you know, complete full brothers.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if they send in their lineage, their pie charts are going to look completely different.
Right.
Because they got different things.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's interesting about it. Like I could have different DNA lineage as far as
Then your siblings.
culturally than my sisters. Yeah. And I think that's an interesting aspect of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
But catching bad guys is also a great thing as well.
Yep. Yeah, so they had all this info. They had his DNA. Unfortunately, though, no suspect was found. Year after year, nothing. It was driving Satomi's parents insane, obviously. They put up a cash reward of 3 million yen, which at the time was about 30,000 US dollars, and appealed for the public for info. This was Satomi's college fund that they put up. And
Right.
so they wanted anything leading to the killer. This money, as I said, was savings meant for her college fund. The father spared no effort in handing out flyers, pasted them in crowded places, police stations, shopping centers, and even started blogging just to keep the case's info in the public's awareness. So,
Wow.
doing everything they can.
That's what a parent would do, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I would hope I would do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just the need of that closure. Why did this happen?
Yeah.
You know, especially living at home with another daughter.
Right. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you gotta
yeah,
be-
the father
you gotta
later
be just,
had a quote saying that
"I
he just
need to
felt
know."
awful that he wasn't able to protect his daughter on that day.
Of course.
But of course, I mean, you're at work. There's what could he have done, you know?
Right. You can't live with that guilt, but he's thinking that this is one thing I can do to honor her memory and to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
The one
you
one
gotta be
good
thinking
thing we'll say is as the years went on, it seemed as though whoever had done this didn't strike anymore. There was no more crimes along these lines. There wasn't a random stabbing attack of a young girl again.
Which makes it even more odd.
Yes.
Because you think if it was a random attack, then it would be someone who couldn't withhold this rage or this passion or whatever it is that drives them to do this type of thing, and they would do it to someone else
Exactly.
in that area, but it didn't turn up.
Yeah. And so within that decade, from 2004 to 2014 and on, Satomi's father had written more than 4,000 entries in his blog and obtained many leads that never panned out. The police had been working hard as well. This wasn't a case where, you see the police just be lazy and not take action. They were doing everything they could. And after 11 years, the police had hired some specialists from the United States Behavioral Analysts Unit, the BAU. So they turned to the U.S. for help. This unit uses behavioral analysis in criminal investigation. They revisited the crime scene. So they're getting a different perspective, just getting someone to take a new look at things to see if there's something they missed. The BAU revisited the crime scene, spoke with some neighbors, and using criminal psychology and their findings, they concluded that the incident was not a premeditated crime. It was more of a voluntary manslaughter triggered by circumstantial factors. So they said that it was basically spur of the moment. Somebody acted upon, their instincts or whatever, and it got out of hand, is what they're saying. Using the
Pretty
hand-drawn,
damn good guess.
Yeah, using the hand-drawn sketch and computer software, BAU came out with a facial composite. Still, time went on with no idea who the perpetrator was, unfortunately. From 2004 to 2018, over 40,000 people were looked at by the police in regards to Satomi's murder. Insane. I mean, I don't know how deeply they went on 40,000, but they at least looked over their record and if they fit the profile.
I'm sure they were looking at anybody who had a record of any type of probably attack with a knife,
seeing if they
stabbing, assault,
if they were in the area at the time, if they fit the profile.
Does their age match up? Let's look at their picture. Pull their headshot up. What does it look like?
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the extent they went to.
Yep.
But
I think this is a good time to take a break and come back with the second part of the story where we catch this son of a bitch.
All right, guys. Well, during this break, check out Luminol Podcast.
Yes.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Caitlin.
How are you?
Good. You know what I'm sick of?
What?
Ted Bundy.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Gacy?
other well-known serial killers.
No, for real though. I'm tired of hearing about the same cases over and over and over.
Me fucking too.
That's why we created Luminol True Crime. We are a true crime, conspiracy theories,
Alien
strange happenings
podcast.
We talk.
You listen,
And then it ends. So we are Luminol True Crime, and we are here for all of those cases that you actually haven't heard of yet, which there are surprisingly a lot of them.
Every week, we choose a new theme.
Check us out. We release episodes every Wednesday. They're full length, about an hour long each, and we talk about different cases you probably haven't heard of. We have a beer, we enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun. So we think that you'll really like it.
Yeah, join us.
And listen to Luminol True Crime.
Bye, kids.
Bye, Illuminati.
All right, we're back. Now, as we mentioned, by 2018, it had been 14 years since 17-year-old Satomi Kitaguchi had been stabbed to death in her own home by an unknown intruder. Intense efforts by the police and families were fruitless, and it looked as though Satomi's family would never get justice. Then something unexpected happened in April of 2018, and it led to the capture of this son of a bitch. The police in Yamaguchi received a call from a construction worker. Not exactly the lead that they thought would lead to,
Right. I'm like, okay, I'm listening.
A 14-year-old
Not excited, but listening.
murder, But the man that had called the police complained that his supervisor on the job at the construction site had violently kicked him in his back while on the job, gotten upset at him over something.
Oh my God. Who immediately goes to kicking? Like no shove, no punch, just fucking immediately to kicking.
Right. Hey, the legs are more powerful.
Must be a Japan thing as well. They are. They definitely are. And that's no doubt. And if you can catch somebody by surprise, oh man, you could do some damage.
Right.
But I don't know.
So the supervisor that had kicked this man was a 35-year-old man named Manabu Kashima. He had been working on the construction for the construction company for 10 years. He had lost control of his temper and kicked the subordinate over a work dispute. The subordinate then called the police. By the time the police got there, though, both of them had kind of mellowed down. However, the police being very prestigious, they took a proper record of the incident, and they even took them down to the police station for statements, including taking fingerprints.
Doing their due diligence. That's what I'm talking about right there.
If more police took every event like this seriously and just dotted the I's, crossed the T's, you never know what you're going to find out about these people. If you just let it go, this person never would have been captured.
Especially an assault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you assault someone. This
kind.
probably isn't the first time you've assaulted someone. If you kick an employee at work, it's probably not the first time you've hit somebody in public.
Right. If you're willing to do that at work, what are you doing in your free time? What are you doing at the bar? Like, holy shit.
Right.
You're willing to kick someone at work?
Mm-hmm. So they brought them down for a talk, and when it came time to collect their fingerprints, they saw that Kashima was quite nervous. He was
really?
apprehensive about getting his fingerprints collected. They felt something was amiss. The police submitted his fingerprint to Yamaguchi Police Headquarters just because they wanted to just make sure that there wasn't something about this dude that he was trying to hide.
Yeah.
They submitted to the police headquarters. They ran it through their system, and they found a match.
Oh, no shit.
And I think you know where this is going.
I have an idea.
This blew their minds because Kashima's fingerprints ended up matching the 14-year-old, basically cold at this point, murder investigation of Satomi. This was his fingerprint matched the murder scene of Satomi Kitaguchi.
Right. What do you say there? I mean,
I'm sure they were basically glad that they went above and beyond and did their due diligence to follow up on basically not that big of a deal, a basic assault at a work place, but
right.
This is why you do it.
Oh, hell yeah. And this is also why he was so calmed down by the time the cops got there, because
he was hoping that they would just move on.
He's like, yeah, he's like, whoa, let's solve this dispute really quickly.
I said sorry like 5 times to the guy. I don't know what else you want me to do.
I don't know. Right. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, like, what did he expect to happen here? I think he thought it was just going to kind of be overlooked. Mm-hmm. But you can't drop that though. You know, if your boss kicks you, he had to. That's probably when they first realized that he was so hesitant about getting his fingerprints done. Was probably right then. They were probably like, "Well, come on down to the station." And they was probably, "Oh no, I got so much work to do here. It's fine." You know, he doesn't want to press charges and whatnot. But
They're like, no, really, we insist.
Insist.
Let's just come down.
Yeah, exactly. Please, I'm sorry. Let's bow. Whatever we got to do, just get in the damn car.
Right. So now they have this match, and now they're. I'm sure you're wondering, who is this Manabu Kashima? He was a resident of Yamaguchi, which is right next to Hiroshima. The distance between Obishi and Hatsukaishi, where Satomi was murdered, is about 100 kilometers. So not out of the realm of possibility that he was in the area. In 2004, he was 21 years old, which again matches the suspect's age and appearance. You remember the grandmother and younger sister said that it was a man in his early 20s, and it's since been 14 years. He's 35, so he would have been right around in his early 20s at the time.
It's perfect. You had me at fingerprint, but go on.
Yeah, that's a good point. And all this is irrelevant, really, when your fingerprint matches.
No, go ahead. We just want to see how dead in the water he was. This is
exactly. So Kashima was also highly suspicious. He was arrested and handed to the police in Hiroshima. The way he was acting, it just clearly gave away that he had something to hide as well, aside from his fingerprint matching. In March of 2020, he was tried in court, and even with everything against him, you know, his profile matching and his fingerprint matching the crime scene, and his DNA that they ran, because remember, Satomi had his DNA under her fingernails. She had put up quite a fight and scratched him in the process of his stabbing. And so, yeah, he's dead to rights, but he still decided to not plead guilty initially.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bold.
However, at a certain point, he ended up giving up on that. With all the evidence working against him, he finally succumbed and confessed everything in court. He said that he didn't know Satomi, and on that fateful day, he was riding his bike from Obishi to Kitaguchi, while deeply frustrated by work. This guy, he needed to find a different industry to work in, because he's clearly, you know, construction is too stressful for this guy. He's kicking people and murdering people because he's so pissed about his job.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, but 10 years, yeah, he's been doing it for a while. He's been there long enough to get bitter. But I mean, this happened I'm just 14 thinking now.
He worked for the construction company that he'd kicked the guy for 10 years. So this was 4 years prior to him starting at that company. But I'm sure he was still probably in construction, just working for a different company.
I'm sure.
Who knows?
Working for companies sucks, bro.
Or maybe he was so frustrated that he, you know, supposedly killed Satomi because of it. And then he realized afterwards, like, man, I need to get into something else. Went into construction, and then 10 years later, he's getting back to the point where he's frustrated by that industry as well.
Yeah, he could be. He was just still a kid, though.
Here.
He was just a kid when he did to Satomi. You know what I mean? He was just a little brat still. He was throwing a temper tantrum that day. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the day that he killed Satomi, he was out riding on a bike, and he also saw Satomi riding a bike as well. She was on her way home from her exam. She'd gotten off early from school, as we mentioned. He decided to stalk her. He coveted her beauty. He was deeply frustrated with his life at the time, and decided a quick little detour to stalk a young girl and rape her would make him feel better about himself. He followed Satomi home, and after waiting out, he sneaked into her room where she was already napping at this point. She was in her bed when he came in. I think he'd been hiding out within, maybe outside the home or within the home, crept upstairs and found her.
Well, he had to have been waiting for a while, because she got home at 1 o'clock and didn't take a nap till around 3
p.m. is when the grandmother and younger sister heard the screams.
So he was waiting for a while.
Yeah, he waited. A fierce resistance by Satomi agitated him further, he said. That's when he decided to pull out his knife and, rather than rape her, stab her to take out his frustration. He stabbed Satomi repeatedly. So his initial intent was to rape Satomi, but when she put up the fight against the rape, scratching him and whatnot, that's when he decided to stab her to death. During the trial, the defense lawyer claimed that the crime had not been planned. It was a momentary loss of sanity and spontaneous violation resulted from accumulated work stress. That doesn't excuse anything.
All right, hold up right there.
That ain't going to get you out of murder. He was just upset at work, you know.
Right.
It was just a
spur of the moment
thing.
isn't waiting 2 hours in the bushes, motherfucker. Like, that's plenty of time to cool off and realize that this is a terrible thing to do. If you're just angry and you lost control.
That's on the verge of premeditation when you're sitting and you stalk a person and you wait for hours in the bushes. Yeah.
And you weren't outside like losing your shit, throwing stuff, creating a ruckus. No, you were hiding. You were quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You were cool and calm, right? What the fuck? Like, this is not even an excuse.
Yeah, it's not like you all were like standing on the corner and she said something that insulted you and you were so stressed about work that you stabbed her. That would be more of a
You're
like secondary, like second degree murder.
right.
You know,
you're
like,
still a piece of shit, but at least your alibi
when
makes
you
sense. But your alibi don't even make
you
sense.
stalk a teenage girl and sneak into her room to rape her and end up stabbing her to death. Yeah, that's first degree murder in my opinion.
Yes, he waited. It's because of the time. He waited for so long. It wasn't this spontaneous.
He had time. Yeah,
insanity.
like you said, he had time to calm down. He had 2 hours. He sat there and waited.
It is not spontaneous insanity like this defensive lawyer is saying. It's not. It's not.
Yeah. So the judge did not acknowledge and concur the claim that the defense lawyers said about it being, you know, this loss of sanity momentarily. And so he decided it was in remaining on the run for an extended period, there was a significant impact on the bereaved family and community as well. So for him being out there for 14 years, that just made everything worse as well. The presiding judge, Hisanori Sugimoto, said that Manubo acted out of extreme selfishness in killing Satomi. Quote, "It was a crime that was the result of an outburst of anger after a rape failed," the judge said. I want you to understand, this is Kitaguchi's father now. Satomi's dad was speaking in court at the trial and said, "I want you to understand that my daughter's life was snatched away. I strongly wished for a strict ruling." So pleading to the judge to throw the book at this man who killed his young daughter.
Yeah.
And in the end, Kashima was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison, as he should have been.
Yes, he should have.
But if he could have just kept his anger in line at work and not kicked a man, he probably would have gotten away with murder until one of his family members submitted their DNA to 23andMe years from now, and he would get caught.
Yeah.
Dude, when your DNA is under the fingernails of a woman you stabbed to death, it's just a matter of time.
Buddy.
You stay alive long enough, they're gonna catch you because the way DNA is being traced now, you're done.
Yep. Hang in there, sweating it out every damn day.
Yep.
Gonna get a knock.
Gonna get that knock that the Golden State Killer got.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do a 23andMe just to get my DNA and just give them more to
Just
work
do
with. Maybe, like I said, maybe I have some scumbag distant relative
Right.
that is a rapist or something, or was a rapist in the 80s or something. Who knows?
Right. And if they make a clone of me, it'll probably be better anyways. So it'll probably be better for society. I won't know. You know.
That's egotistical.
No, I mean,
if there's more of me out
no,
there, that'll
I'm
just
saying
be better.
it'll-
Look how many good podcasts there'll be.
no, I'm saying it'll be better than this version of me. They're obviously going to wipe out me, dumbass. They're going to take me and make me.
I thought you were.
No.
I thought you were being like, oh man, the more Michaels there are on the planet, the better. You know, the better off the world will be.
I'm talking from the sense of like Bill Burr, where he was talking about he's like a full size robot of you is going to show up at your door. When you enter the door, it's going to kill your ass and then take your spot. That's what Bill Burr thinks they're going to do with our DNA.
You know what though? I know all the weaknesses of that bastard too. So
Of what?
it's going to be a scrap.
Oh, but it'll be a robot, dude.
If I
It
have
won't
to
even
fight
be a
a clone
human.
of me, I know where to go.
It'll be better
I know
you.
what to do.
It'll be stem celled fixed you. Eugenics at its best. It won't be regular
Yeah,
you. Lord.
yes. But does it do jiu-jitsu?
It's already been downloaded.
It's like in The Matrix when it just down.
He's like the freaking jujitsu and John Jones and all these people like
Right.
all mixed together, bro.
All right, then I'm toast. I'm thinking by the time they're doing that kind of stuff, I'll already be dead. So
Yeah.
I guess my kids will have to deal with that shit. But for now, I'd like to submit my DNA just so they have more to work with to catch bad people.
Yeah, there you go. And it would be interesting for you because I know your lineage has been kind of has been changed.
My great
from
grandfather
adoptions
was
and whatnot,
adopted
right?
by a German family. I believe I'm actually French descent because the name that my great grandfather had before he was adopted by a German family was very French. And now I have a German sounding last name because, like I said, he was adopted. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I guess I'm guessing I'm just a mix of European countries though.
Right.
It's probably going to be some French, some German. You know, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, but it'd be worth checking out, though. Definitely be worth checking out.
Yeah.
It'll be fun for you. And it'll also be a cool thing you can tell your kids, too. You can be like, oh, check this out. Like, you might be this, you know?
Right.
So,
My wife's very Irish, so I know my kids got some of that.
oh, yeah. There you go. I'm a quarter Irish. So,
Nice.
I got a lot of that. And I got, like, British, Polish, all that stuff right around in there. What is it? West Europe?
Never know. There might be something in there that surprises me. That'll be cool, I guess.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I think I'm
for
gonna do
sure.
it.
For sure. There might be. Like I said, just because of that lineage change there, it's worth checking it out for you. You know what I'm saying? Because your family might not know that much about the history.
Right.
I mean, how much could your dad know, right? Because his dad was adopted, right?
His dad's dad was adopted.
His dad's... Oh, okay. His dad's dad.
Yeah, my great-grandfather was adopted.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you guys know a few generations back, but that's probably about
Right.
it. Yeah, I would definitely check it out, dude. What's the other one? What's the 23andMe and then Ancestry, right? They're two different things.
Do they? Yeah, they. But does Ancestry do the where you submit your DNA as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look at what deals they got going on.
There you go. Last time I looked at it, I think it was like $90 or something like that to do the whole spit swab thing.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Not bad.
And I think they have like different plans you can do where they offer more. Like if you pay more, they can they constantly update.
Yes.
Because as they get more DNA, it gets more and more accurate, and your profile changes. Like, oh, we just found out that you're actually you also have a little bit of this too.
Right.
So,
And see, I think I did that. I got in early because I did this shit like a long time ago. Like, I don't know, 2014, 2013, 14, somewhere around there, I would think. And it took a while to get that back. It took a long time to get my results. And then, but now I still get constant emails, and they narrow it. They're like, here is
okay.
your
They're
new.
still updating you, huh?
Yeah, they're like, here's
yeah,
your
the
new
longer you wait, the better
accurate.
it gets. The more accurate it gets.
Precisely. So it's like it can really narrow down and be a lot more direct in where you came from. So that's why I say to do it now. Like, 10 years ago, probably wasn't the best time to do it, but now.
But if they keep updating you, that's
Yeah, as long as they keep updating.
like they're doing with you, then what's the difference?
But what I'm saying is the information that you got for the price you paid, for the information I got from the price I paid, my pie chart had like too many pieces. I was like, what the hell? What's this? I got all this stuff. I'm like, what is it? You're telling me stuff I got like 1%, 12%. I'm like, narrow this down a little bit. But they gotten really good now.
Yeah.
They've gotten really good now. So
Yep. So yeah, that's our case this week. Hope you guys enjoyed our first trip to Japan on the podcast.
Yeah.
It was a quickie, but a good one.
I'm sure if you know how to pronounce things in Japanese, you probably didn't enjoy it as much, but
or maybe you did. People love it when we.
Yeah.
Some people love it when we just butcher, like they just laugh at it.
yeah,
like you
that's
guys are
true.
idiots.
That's how you should take it. That's how you should take it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. People mispronounce names over here. I'm like, what cares? They're obviously not from here. Who cares? How could they know otherwise? Right?
It's. I guess it's fine. It's when like the entire world mispronounces Nevada. It bothers me. But it's just like it's people that should know by now. People that have either work in Vegas or like frequent Nevada constantly, and
Yeah.
they still call it Nevada.
Right. But like the first time we met, you weren't upset with me when I called it Nevada because I didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I
but if
called it
someone
Nevada.
from
I called
Japan
it Nevada.
mispronounced Nevada, I would kind of expect it. I'd be like, yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
it's so foreign to you. It's like us mispronouncing all these European country names and Japan names. And
Exactly.
it's almost like I can look up the pronunciation. I'm still going to struggle. It's just such a cultural. The way that my mouth pronounces things it would take a while.
Right. And here's a problem that I find with pronunciation videos. So many of them are just computer generated now. So
Yes.
so I'm like,
dude, I stopped even bothering. I'm
Right.
like, I don't know that that's right. That doesn't sound right.
right, because I can look up words that I know how to pronounce, and then the computer pronounces them wrong. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't even trust this. So you wing it, or unless you can find a video or something but when you're dealing with a foreign language, like if you're dealing with, most of the videos where people know how to say these terms in these cities are in Japanese. So you don't know the rest of it. So you got to listen real close to try to pick out the town. And then good luck repeating that, with that dialect. It's tough, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. You want to talk some Oh My Gaia?
Yeah, let's do that instead. All right. Oh My Gaia is an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while maintaining effectiveness. At Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural, paraben, and aluminum-free organic ingredients. And there's tons of scents to choose from, guys. There's definitely something to fit your style or your vibe, whatever you're going for. From vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, bergamot amber. We have our very own scent called True Crime Pine. So if you don't know where to start, that's a great place to start. It's a very nice, light, unisex scent. It's something that I keep in stock all the time. Again, that's True Crime Pine. There's also scents like pear that have been recently added. Barbershop, another great fresh scent. And because you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the word creeper for 15% off your order. That's CREEPER. And you can get 15% off at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com, guys. 15% off. Use the word creeper. Won't regret it, guys.
That's right. Do it. I promise you won't regret it.
You won't.
All right. I want to take a minute to thank everybody that's gone and rated and reviewed the show on iTunes this week. We got a friend from 423 in the U.S. said, hilarious and terrifying. 5 stars. Give this podcast a chance. You will not regret it, just like you won't regret trying Oh My Guy either.
Oh, right on.
We got Germa A2 in Canada. Said, salute from Quebec.
Oh, nice.
I listened to your first available episode and I liked it. Then I listened to your most recent and same. I like your style, simple but factual in your exchanges. There's insight and sensitivity. Thank you to Germa. I don't know if I'm messing now. Germ A2 in Canada.
Nailed it.
We got Freem Bean in the U.S. Said, love this podcast, 5 stars. I'm very picky with true crime, and this one hit me from the first time I listened. I'm a criminal justice student, and I love that y'all are humble. Keep the moida coming.
Keep the moida coming. We will.
It always amazes me when we have people who are actually going to school and getting degrees in criminal justice and
they want to listen to us.
Psychology and all this stuff, and they actually like our shows.
Right.
And I just always worry
Isn't
about
this
that.
like 2 steps backwards for you guys? I don't understand.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
right. But we try, and we also admit that we're in things that we're not formally educated on. We basically put that out there, like, look, this is how we look at it, but we're not
Right. Absolutely.
experts by any means.
That's the only thing that we can bring on our show that no one else can, is how we feel and what we think and how we perceive
our
things.
perspectives.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we got Carly Alberton in the U.S. said, True Crime's finest, 5 stars, and wrote a very long, very nice review for us. We
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
that. And we got EMJ Loves RGR in the U.S. said, thank you, 5 stars. Truly appreciate the research and time you put into each episode. And finally, we got Moon Ivy in the U.S. said, you all make my workday less boring. Keep up the great work, 5 stars. Appreciate you all. And we'll get around over the coming weeks to give thanks to people who leave comments on different apps and different platforms.
Right.
I try to just randomly select a platform and stuff to give shout outs to people. So wherever you're leaving comments and supporting the show, we see you all. We appreciate you all, whether it's all over social media, Instagram, Twitter,
Yes.
Facebook. We're all at True Crime Guys on all of those. If you put us in your story on Instagram, that you're listening, or shout us out on there, we always put it in our story. So
That's right. Right.
gives you a little bit of love as well.
Free advertisement.
Yeah. Any way you support the show, we appreciate y'all.
Yes, we do very much, guys. That's the number one way to support the show. Is follow us, tell a friend, just spread the word, or join Patreon.
Patreon, I would say, that's 1A and 1B there.
Yes, Patreon being 1A for sure, right? That's the best way to help the show. Patreon.com/True Crime Guys for just $2 a month, guys, or you can pay yearly now for just $21. And you get access to our premium episode, which is released every single month, only available on Patreon, as well as it's at the $2 tier. Then at the $5 tier or above, you get access to Just the Banter, which we release every Friday evening to Saturday morning, give or take, somewhere around
This
there.
week, you got to find out our thoughts on each fruit.
That's right.
What we think of strawberries versus blueberries versus grapes.
What's the top 3?
versus-
What's the bottom 3?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got
We're not going to give it away. You have to listen to find out.
Of course. And we also talked about some interesting things in that one too. But But yeah, that was just the
Hey,
banter.
we've gotten good feedback on
Listen,
the fruit conversation, I have to say.
We did. You guys love to hear us talk for some reason, and we appreciate that so much. But that was just the banter 20. So if fruits aren't your thing, we got 19 other volumes of just the banter that are waiting to be unwrapped. Some of them upwards to an hour. Some of them
are vegetables.
Right.
You never know what it might be.
You never know. It could be dogs. Could be about dogs. Who knows?
A lot of dog talk.
But yeah, but guys, that's patreon.com/truecrimeguys. And if you're already a member of Patreon and you've listened to everything that True Crime Guys has to offer and you caught up all the way up to this recent episode, then guys, check out our other show, Strange and Unexplained. Wherever you listen to podcasts, True Crime Guys presents Strange and Unexplained. If you just search True Crime Guys in your podcast app, it should pull up. You'll see the 2 velociraptors on the logo there. We just released episode 50 this week, believe it or not. 2 more weeks, and it'll be 1 whole year of Strange and Unexplained. And we're not slowing down anytime soon. We're just getting this train rolling, guys. So
Yep.
I'm excited to be working on that. Part 2 of a crazy survival story will be released this coming Monday for Strange and Unexplained. So if you guys want to get caught up with that, of course, there's patreon.com/S&U podcast. And you can find all updates on Strange and Unexplained on Instagram, preferably at S&U podcast. But I'm also putting up tweets for new episodes and content on Twitter, and then also post on Facebook as well. So we appreciate all the support, guys, and we're gonna have probably even more content coming in 2021 under TCG Productions. So hang in there. We're just getting started.
Yep.
All right,
y'all. We'll see you next week. Keep creeping.
Yep, keep creeping, guys.
True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder, get murder. True crime guys, in the desert we like a mirage. It's okay if you clicked on us cause you thought we was True Crime Garage. Now we ain't mad at you, sit down, let us talk at you. I'm talking to the creeper army, we out here making murder charming.